I was at the Hartlepool forum where a gentleman asked about our beloved Prophet ﷺ and Hajj, whereas why Ahmadis can't go there. You gave to me the best answer I've ever heard, but there was a colleague who was with me who wasn't convinced. He wanted to know why, if the Holy Prophet ﷺ was a perfect man, well, why was his sins needed forgiving for the future? I was happy with the answer, but if you could answer it again, because I'm keen to tell him the answer.
You see, this promise which is mentioned in the Holy Quran, in fact, is a prophecy by God all-knowing that this Prophet of Allah is above sin. So it's expressed in a very beautiful way, by way of reward for perfect submission at the time of extreme trial. It's submission to the will of Allah, which was so pleasing to God that He wanted to reward it. But the reward, in my opinion, was this declaration that this man is above sin. Otherwise, we believe all prophets of Allah are innocent. They can't sin. But another reason why this was said so, I believe, is that despite the fact that the prophets are told by God that you are sinless, and they know it, of course, to a degree, yet in their humility, they see small specks as human failings to be sins. So as the standard of piety rises, so also the realization of sin becomes enlarged, and one begins to see sins where there are no sins but just normal human failings. So in that regard, we must always translate the word sin when it is used against the Prophet as having a different connotation than when it is applied to ordinary sinful people. Sin in the sight of a prophet, as he becomes not only perfect in the sense that he constantly improves in his conduct, in his attitude to God. So every stage of his life is perfect, but not in the sense of final absolute perfectness, absolute perfection. Because absolutely perfect is only God. So that is why I have to explain this. Being perfect, he can still be better. That is also a point which is well established from the Holy Quran. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Every other moment that comes in your life is better than the previous one. So, in my opinion, the word perfection has also to be fully understood. In this particular regard, I think perfection should mean that a person is sinless as far as he can, he understands sin. But his understanding of sin goes on broadly. And things which are very small specks, even things which are counted not as failings but as achievements in case of ordinary people, begin to appear in the sight of these perfect people as failings and sins. In their humility, they keep seeking forgiveness of Allah for all these small things. So as you also observe the same phenomenon in ordinary life, where when there are higher expectations from a person of a noble birth, there he is taunted for even the smallest failing, while the person who taunts him ordinarily leads a life which is so full of defects and even crimes. So this is a relative matter, a question of relativity. So in that light, in that background, Now if I return to that verse of the Holy Quran, I believe God gave him this glad tidings that even if you think that you have sinned, we know you don't sin, but even if you think you have sinned, even if you are repentant at something which you consider failing, we declare that from now on all your so-called, inverted comma sins are forgiven forever. So these are very minute areas of understanding of such verses. Because there was not time for that explanation during that session, so I just passed by. I hope you have got the answer now.
I have, most certainly.
You will be able to, I hope, satisfy the person whom you want to.
I certainly will.